Hello, ghouls and goblins, and oh my god, get this shit out of here. Excuse me. We are back. We are still with Ashton. Ashton, put down the gun. Why the fuck is he cross-eyed in this shit? Compared to everyone else. Everyone else kind of looks a little jank. Which we will continue with the story. Episode 23. At present, everything seems to point to where this all started. The Ermengarde mansion. Will bringing the letter back there fix everything? Fuck. How do I? The mansion's a private property now. Can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. After what he did to Zach, not gonna happen over my dead body. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act fast if I want to keep my friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she'll get us. Damn it, I hope Zach's safe where they're keeping him. There are guards stationed at the holding cells 24/7, but you can't be sure. This is a ghost we're up against. Before anything happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. Break is needed. Time to let everything to sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it is in their eyes that they look up at me, waiting. We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few. The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth. Something heavy and grating sounds from the far end of the room. She scratched on the window, a harsh noise rendering through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the two of them are on their feet while I quickly palm for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the three of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
Ashton, that might be...
Gather everything.
She's getting bolder. No questions asked. They waste no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella is unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms, her own movements sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. There's fear, but something hardened and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension already gripping the place. Suddenly the lights go out and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward and release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person. I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost. Right now, it's smooth surfaced against my palm with the trigger on my finger provides the closest thing I have to relief as I approach the closet.
Ashton, what are you doing?
Damn,
we have everything.
out.
We should just...
Worried as they both are, they immediately stop at the slight raise in my hand. But the edge is there, while they are huddled in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever's inside is yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door, louder and louder the longer I dally. Another shallow breath, a glance at my companions, a nod. Something creaks. Oh, then in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swinging the doors wide open to reveal nothing. Right away, I part the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No ghost, no woman, not a single trace of whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back towards Rebecca and Isabella, only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anymore. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders and
We should go. You two, we need to... Ah!
I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against the floor with force enough to dislodge my brain from its skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision, and then I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, smell of vile rot assaulting my nose. Nauseating, sickening, a foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The momentary horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as last time I've heard it, reaches my eyes vicariously. Perhaps it's just an experience, or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes, the gun in my hand turn useless as my grip weakens. It is the manner her gaze pours at me, the look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers who never regretted their actions despite being caught. This is the face of someone you can no longer reason with. And I know the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the...
Ashton! Snap out of it!
No. Can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind and instinct kicks in then and there.
Everyone out! Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wail she fills the room with. Oh, I mean do that. Within the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first person my hand can reach and leading the two of them out. Into the hallway. Down the flight of steps. And right inside my car. I waste no time flooring on the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them, and in a short while I'm driving us out of Salem Well. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet. Even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. October 31st, Monday. A dreary downpour starts off the Monday. Although it doesn't last for more than an hour, the dark clouds lift just after the sun peeks over the horizon. Brief as it is, the rain has significantly dampened the park's usual cheery vibe. Mornings like this often mark the start of another bad week. An arrest gone wrong, another investigation leading to a dead end, or some truly fucked up shit being called in. Like that one time I was dispatched to a scene where a guy gouged his own eyeball out and almost ate it. Nice. Was a few chews away from swallowing it, in fact. Lost my dinner that day.
Fun times.
Of course, I doubt anything can top getting cursed by a damn chain letter, of all things. This is sort of stupid thing that people pass along as prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. The ghost chasing after us, he just puts the icing on the cake after you. So far all we've done is run, snoop them out, read stuff, and run again. It frustrates me to no end that we're still no closer to an answer. Even my car reflects the state of my mind is in. Photocopies of stuff scattered all over the place, spilling from the passenger side into the back seat, making an entire mess of what little space there is. Not that I'm any better. My last shower was 24 hours ago. I haven't slept at all. My last meal was, the way I am now, I'm definitely getting a scolding. Rebecca will definitely give me an earful and tell me to take care of myself better, say that I'm killing myself on the job. I can already hear Isabella complaining about how dark the bags under my eyes are getting and how I reek and how I need a shower.
I can rest easy when this is all over.
It's not that I can't feel the pang of hunger. With that woman chasing after you, it's difficult not... Oh, excuse me. The rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins in my desperation to survive. In fact, I can still sense the ghost of her touch from last night. Her bony digits wound tightly around my ankle, that horrid smile she has on her as she pulls me closer. The memory's enough to send a shiver up my spine and make me antsy. Perhaps the only thing comforting about this is the sight of my gun. From my dashboard, sunlight glints on it. Normally I keep it hidden in a compartment. Luxborn police regulation only allows authorized people to carry firearms, and even those are limited. I do have that authorization, but I never really saw the need for its use when the standard issue tasers are more than good enough to incapacitate anyone. If not, I can always throw them on their back. Those judo lessons Dad forced me to get as a kid had its uses too. On a ghost though, all of those will probably yield the same result. They're all useless. Might as well use a stick. However, it's the feeling of ease I'm after, and what little of it I can gather from it. The awareness that I, at least, have something to protect myself with, in case things go wrong. That I can still protect the people who are still depending on me despite the missteps I've taken. It doesn't take the edge off, though, the feeling that your whole body has been strained. Oh, excuse me. Frankly, I'm already running out of steam. The only thing pushing me right now is knowing someone's still depending on me. The stretch is still in order, though. I've been sitting here since last night. Soon, I step out from my car, closing it behind me with a thud as I take in my surroundings. The rain did wonders. The morning air feels crisper and cooler than it has been in days. For once, the weather seems to be taking a turn for the normal. Luxborn's normal in the distance beyond. Buildings lining the horizon, dark clouds
Storm
are blowing
might be due
in.
this evening, give or take.
A shame for the people looking forward to Halloween tonight. Yes, a shame indeed. I'm just not sure whether this is something I can look forward to as well. Still, I bask in the change it brings, inhale, exhale, breathing in, taking in the peace as if it'll be my last. But as with all good things, the quiet shortly comes to an end. Not necessarily a bad end. Chatter reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find them, Rebecca and Isabella, just as they've entered the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. After last night's flight from Salem, well, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure if our homes will still be safe. Normally we'd all be advised the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like any of us have gotten an ounce of sleep anyways. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted but a second. But looking at them right now from afar, it's easy to mistake them just for a group of friends on a day out. Isabella is gesturing wildly with her arms as she talks, something funny or amusing probably, because it's soon followed by Rebecca's giggles. Their voices fill the atmosphere with light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in a life and death situation the way they're acting now. Easy to forget one of us is being framed for a crime he likely didn't commit. If anything, it's only their appearance that betrays that mask, slightly disheveled, bags under their eyes, an exhausted curve in their shoulders, and dragging footsteps. The closer they get, the more obviously signs are to the naked eye. Rebecca passes an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it. Isabella hands me the other bag she's holding before seating herself on the edge of the fountain. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Sweet sauce drizzled over pork wanabe. Hell, even the sorry looking, okay, despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I dig in without waiting for them to start. Both of them appear to be on the same mind too. Soon enough, they also start with theirs. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we are, food is something we can't forego. Starvation dulls the thinking, weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're going to have to take care of ourselves first. It's one thing Zach will likely remind me if he's here. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin, along with what is the shift in the mood, back to dismal. Back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I've missed these kinds of moments between us. We never had the chance, always busy on some project or work, the things we've taken for granted, and now we're realizing how valuable they are. With one of us gone, stuck in a jail cell, the world has an awful sense of humor. While the one we've just had is short-lived. It's another thing I want to look forward to if we ever free ourselves from this damn curse. I'd like to believe there's a way. For now, we have to focus back on the present. This, dead people, the letter, the curse. It's not simple to bring these up, but necessary.
What now? Where do we go from here?
It's not a question directed at anyone in particular, but they all look at me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, but when I was at the top of my game and I'm still sure of everything, now there's just uncertainty sullying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue, and stress, we had enough kindling to get a fire burning. But
Well,
not so.
first, we can't just stay here. That much is obvious.
But we can't just keep running like this either, Becca. Sooner or later, she'll...
As if we have a choice. We can't even go back to our own homes because that thing might get us. Nowhere safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Isabella. Not to a stupid chain letter you were too gullible to pick up, bring with you, and show to everyone.
I didn't do it on purpose. Becca, had I known, I wouldn't have...
You two. Now's not really the time to be shouting at each other. I'm already getting a headache, so if you guys could calm down, that'd be really great.
Well, isn't that rich coming from you? Whose side are you on, Ash?
Why does anyone have to pick a side?
Exactly.
You're a rational person, Becca. You know we can't just say it's her fault. She did warn us not to open it, and
That doesn't exempt her from any blame. She's still largely responsible for it.
And you're not?
I didn't say that! Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well?
I tried to warn all of you. None of you listened. Now you're blaming me for something I kept telling you guys since day one? You're just as responsible for this as I am.
So now you're throwing it back at us? We wouldn't even be having this problem if you're...
Cut this out, okay? This isn't the time to have some dumb argument.
If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of this, Ash.
Oh no, Ash. Don't stop her. Let her say it. I'm sure she has plenty more to say. If I didn't know any better, she's already.
Already what? You want me to say it? Out loud? That I find you in this whole thing?
All right, that's enough! Both of you, stop this!
They both faltered to silence at my words, and an awkward, stifling mood descends between the three of us. I do not mean to shout, to snap at them, to add to that kindling. Not in a moment when, anytime, anywhere, she might get to one of us. We're all in the same boat, yet here we are, playing the blame game. Little by little, we're falling apart, caving into the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did that ghost mean for this to happen? To divide each of us so she could pick us off one by one right after? Who knows? Anything's possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, that the possibility might come sooner or later that I'd figure all of this out. Fuck, I still can't think straight. Can't even believe the next words coming out of my own mouth, that out of everyone, I have to be the one saying these to them. This is more than forte than mine, keeping the peace, placating everyone while I unintentionally aggravate. Funny how fast the tables have turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed
If
to
we
cope?
all want to get out of this mess in one piece, we're gonna have to cool our heads first.
Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. If the door slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure what or who I'm angry at. A ghost? At them? Or maybe at myself for being this useless? Because despite none of them saying it, I know, god damn it. They're still counting on me. In spite of my failures of every harsh word I've uttered, and how unbearable I can be as a friend. It's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks, and one by one, they follow up and get in the car. It's in concerned glances they shoot my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It is in their silence a heavy gift, their unwavering trust. Yet it's one I'm more willing to carry even through my own exhaustion, if only to keep them safe. In this city of 86,000 strangers, they're the ones I have left. The only ones I have left. Though in all seriousness, a good rest is, well, thinking of an exhausted brain is almost as good as running around in circles. We might as well just throw ourselves. Oh, the local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't slept a wink or you're stressed. More often than not, it's loud. Sometimes the music played by drunkards grates the ears and the whole place smells like piss on a bad day. All in all, it's very definition of the last place I'll hang around after a wakeful night, but it's safe. Or as safe as it can be, with G's security watching the place, making it easy to find help in case you find yourself in a tight spot. The place being owned by a person I've implicitly placed my trust on provides some semblance of comfort too. Gregor, bartender G, or just G to his regular patrons, might be rough around the edges, sometimes a bit too rough for a man serving drinks behind the counter, but he belongs to the good folk of this city. If there's anyone in this place I can rely on to look after people important to me, it's probably him. He means well. Surprisingly, despite his surly demeanor, he cares to some extent for people I'll likely only see once or twice a week or on a bad day. Not the best job in the world in my opinion, but that's exactly it, isn't it? In wine, there is trust. Alcohol, in this case. It loosens the tongue, forces one to let his or her guard down. Whatever inhibitions anyone has, it all flies straight out the window after a few glasses. It has made him observant too, always has one or two things to say about someone or something. Most of the time it's me, opinionated ass. But God knows how many times I've asked for his help when I've met with a dead end in a case or I'm in trouble. This time's no different. As expected, the moment we show up, he's kind enough to offer us a room at the back of his shop. A single look at my face, I don't even need to say anything, and the next thing we know, he's leading us in. No questions asked. Maybe it's also for this reason why I find myself drifting towards his station hours later, after having gotten that much needed shut-eye. Newly washed drinking glasses and tumblers line the counter surface when I enter the room. Behind the bar, G's busy wiping each of them clean, likely prepping it for tonight's use. Briefly, he glances up at me. Once I claim one of the empty stools and grab a rocks glass sitting closest to my elbow, turning it absent-mindedly in my palm just to keep my hands occupied while my brain's busy, still trying to make sense of everything. Even at a dead hour, with only a few patrons milling about, this place still smells strongly of liquor. Honestly, I've never grown fond of it, regardless of how many times I've made a trip or sat here on the same spot, just talking with the old man. I've never been fond of drinking in the first place, yet oddly, it's the nasty odor of a brewery that helps clear the mind this time, along with the lack of the establishment's usual hubbub and the occasional clinking of glasses. Even more bizarre is that, through my lack of words, G doesn't say anything. Although it's clear from the way his mouth is curved up in a tight frown that he has questions, a bucket load of it, he wisely keeps it shut. Instead, he simply focuses back on his work, rinse, wipe, stash away, repeat, going through the motions with such familiarity. Watching his precise movements quietly like this, with these thoughts swimming inside my head, it's easy to lose track of everything around me. One solid lead on this, one possible way to sort this out. But will it work? Especially if my assumption's correct and the reason Zach was there yesterday morning was because of the curse. Something must have happened there for him to see the need to look into it and break inside that place. What if the couple had fallen victim to the curse? It doesn't fall outside the realm of possibility. I've been so biased, not even thinking that it might be in danger as well. But during the open house with Isabella, they might have seen the letter end. Fuck.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. Some fucking detective I am.
That's likely the moment when Cooper saw it. If the logic holds, I need to hurry there right away, and if there are answers anywhere, it would be there. It should be there, where all this fucking mess started. It's not only my life on the line here. There are others. What happened to us, I won't wish on anyone else, no matter how much I loathe them, or how complicated all of this has suddenly become. The letter, the woman, mansion, and now there are the voices lacing venom inside every crevice in my head, murmurs that jeer, scoff, and deride whenever an opportunity presents itself.
Because you didn't listen. all your fault. Why won't you believe me?
A reminder of what I failed to do and who I failed. At some point, they all begin to blur together, twining and coiling, every horrid image and memory of her seeking the forefront of my mind. No matter how much I refuse to remember the fear I felt then, to push it as far back as I can, the visions come to me, and before I know it, before I can drown, another voice pulls me out of it.
You doing good there, boy?
His hand is on my shoulders, gripping it tightly and giving me a light shake. Oh, it's the, sergeant. No, it's the... Okay. There's relief in his face when I finally look up, although his frown appears more distinct than the concern in his eyes. It's deeper now, marred with worry and agitation. He does let go when I offer him a small nod, but the furrow between his eyebrows never leaves his face. He always has a knack for reading people after all. Even someone who can be as closed off or distant like me. In all the time I've spent in the force, there's only one other person who is keen as this old guy. Chief. Funny and weird to some degree. I've pointed it out to him so many times before how much they look alike, only for the observation to be brushed off with a vehement tone. That's what I was thinking. It's the same voice too, the same person. I never brought it up again after the third time, out of respect for the guy. Whatever it is, it's clear that's something he doesn't want to talk about. Why push, right? Are they like twins? However, during times like this, it's possible for the thought not to come up. He even has the glare down pat. Under his wordless scrutiny, I feel like a damn rookie again.
You're looking a bit green. Sure you got plenty of rest back there? You were only out for an hour or two. Wouldn't hurt to try and get some sleep. I'll keep an eye out.
No need. Don't worry about me. I won't be able to get some sleep anyway.
Now with her face still a clear picture in my
I
head.
heard that from you before. Not buying it. What's the story this time? This as bad as that case with the guy who ate his own eyeball?
I wish it were. Jesus, stop reminding me. I hated that case. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you get a kick out of telling people about it.
It's useful, you know, for blokes who don't know their limits. Sends them right out the door after I start with a description. Or was it the part when the poor schmuck gouged his eyes out? Nasty, awful, icky stuff, and it gets the job done. Like I said, useful. Don't even need to call security these days if I want to kick someone out. Anyway, pretty sure that pales in comparison to whatever this is now. I haven't seen you this stressed out since I closed that case. The one from 10 years ago with your professor friend?
Abigail and her team weren't able to solve that one, G. No one has been able to. It just went cold.
Same difference. But what do I know, eh? I just serve drinks, listen to people's problems and their whining, then make sure they get home safe afterwards. Thing is, I'm also not blind, kiddo. And you can bet your ass I can tell when a person's about to fall apart.
What? Is this some form of therapy from you? Are you going to offer me free drinks now?
Really, I can use some right now, something to numb the senses. But when has that helped
In your
anyone?
dreams, kid. Last time someone gave you the hard stuff, your photographer friend had to haul you out of this place almost half naked.
Hey, I can handle my liquor when I put my mind to it.
Not from what I've seen, nope. Besides, you usually avoid drinking. Either way, it's out of the equation. And when booze no longer counts, we just talk. So, talk. It's not like anyone within earshot will care. That chap over there only wants his cricket matches.
I doubt you believe it, G.
I've heard worse stuff. Try me.
You know that mansion down at Anslum?
Yeah, who doesn't? You live in this town long enough, it's impossible not to hear a thing or two about it. Bloody locals.
Well, my friend found a primitive version of a chain letter in there. Now that we've seen it, we're cursed.
The beach passes. For a long moment, G stands there, unmoving. His hand stops short of placing the glass he's been wiping prior to the rack on his left, while Wally stares at me with eyes that are nothing short of scrutinizing. He probably assumes I'm joking. Who wouldn't know? He knows something. Not a week ago, I've been put in the same position. Even now, in spite of all the things I've seen and heard, it simply won't sink in. Or maybe this is just desperation creeping in, the idea that I may not be able to find a way out of this. Whatever the case is, for people who hasn't experienced what I'm going through, this will merely sound like an awful Halloween prank.
It's not a prank.
This must have been what Isabella felt the whole time we made fun of her that day.
This isn't a prank! I saw something!
Now it's too late. We're stuck in a never-ending nightmare where the only thing— oh, I've expected G's reaction to it, amused laughter booms throughout the whole pub after a long bout of silence, like I've just told him a particularly funny joke.
Okay. Good one, kid. You don't want to spill. No one's forcing you. Seriously, though. Good one.
You got it, G. Although I want to be angry with him, I can't find it in myself. Can't even muster the energy for a scowl or a glare. Nothing but a taste of my own medicine to temper the annoyance bubbling up in me, I suppose. In the end, echoing her words is the best I can do.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, all right. Good luck with that. You're on your own. Here I thought you didn't have an ounce of humor in that body. Guess I'm wrong.
He shakes his head, lets out another chuckle before returning to his task. By now, almost half the glasses have been put away. The only ones remaining are the smaller kind used for shots and stemmed ones. Despite being busy with his task, his amusement does not entirely disappear from his face. He keeps talking as if I'm simply another customer he entertains with his stories. But we both know it's more than that. It's a wistful expression of him on him says anything.
Can't believe you're the same rookie who walked in here almost a decade ago. Too smart for his own good, that boy. He's always been 2 steps ahead of things. Now he's here, sulking.
I must have screwed up somewhere then.
I must have screwed up a lot. For things to suddenly shift like this, for me to become a mere shadow of the person I used to be.
No, I don't think so. This one, screwed up? Not by a mile. It's too early to say. You've still got several years ahead of you, Holmes. Take it easy. But some things change, eh? It has been years, and you were a kid back then. You know, the sort that's a bit unsure, making all the horrible decisions in life he'd eventually be embarrassed to talk about.
You never stop calling me kid, though.
Well, you still are. It's just that this time, you're sure of who that badge and gun is for. What was it you police types usually say? To protect and serve, yeah?
A significant pause follows at its heels from both of us as he allows its meaning to sink in and spur something in me, stirring a feeling both heavy and forceful, but not completely unwelcome. Familiar. Though before I can even clarify what he's trying to imply or gather my thoughts on the matter, G turns away to begin his work on the silverwares. We'll need those too, once more for his patrons in for lunch, slow and easy. Sharp contrast with the strained air we've been waiting through these past weeks. Fleeting moment, but once I allow myself to relish, it's only because of its absence lately. The way things are now, this is almost a gift. So when it all ends with the sound of my phone ringing, a sigh is all that leaves me. I placed the damn thing on low volume last night, but it does nothing to keep it quiet. I don't even know if I want to answer it right now. It has brought me nothing but one bad news after another. Thinking back about it only makes me want to chuck it into the closest trash bin I can find. Not that I'll help things, of course. Another exhale slips past my lips before I can pull it out, quickly swiping over the screen without checking the caller ID. After all, the ones who will worry or fret over how awful it might sound right now are here with me. My parents never call around this hour, so chances are it's probably just the Chief or Abigail. There's Zach, but he's in a position where contacting me is impossible, placed in jail by some scumbag for a crime he likely didn't commit. No use pretending what I'm not even.
Inspector Frey speaking.
Anything.
Good morning, sir. Sorry to bother you this early.
What is this about?
It's about your friend, you know? The guy I called you about yesterday, the one they brought in the night before.
He's dead.
Zachary Steele.
His hesitant note does nothing to diminish the lump that has suddenly lodged itself at the base of my throat. What are the chances? What are the chances that something went wrong while I'm not looking? While I'm out here brooding all things.
How is he? Is he doing okay?
He's dead.
We actually have a problem, Detective Inspector.
Hastily assumptions aren't usual fare in my book. They shouldn't change right now. The precinct is secure. It's supposed to be. They have guards manning the station 24/7. If anything happens, all Zack has to do is shout, someone will be there for him. Even if there's a phantom going after him, he should be safe there. He should have been. Yet none. These reassurances will allay my suspicions. Whatever little thread of hope I'm hanging onto slowly fades as each silence passes. An expectation so weak, faint, I might as well just let it go and prepare myself for the worst. It's a feeble attempt at optimism I will never get used to. This is out of my depth. This isn't my forte. Zack's maybe. Rebecca too. Never mind. Oh, this is the kind of mood Isabella has always unknowingly brought with her. What her eyes often conveyed, what I've often found myself searching in her whenever I look at them. But no matter how many times I repeat any words of comfort or calming images inside my head, the hollow chill at the base of my stomach refuses to ease. Even my voice shakes when I urge Officer Renz to speak again, weak and unsteady. The only thing keeping me from stumbling when I abruptly stand is the counter solid support beside me, the flat of my hand braced against it for leverage.
Officer Renz. Renz, right? What happened? You're supposed to keep an eye on him, yeah? It's protocol.
Your friend, sir, he's... I think it'd be better if you just saw it yourself, sir. This isn't something you should be hearing over the phone. Chief Inspector Lee wants you to report in as well. It's about the case Luke Wright filed yesterday, and...
The rest never registers. Rather, my brain refuses to acknowledge any of it, not even the possibility that this might just be a terrible joke. All I can think of is the suffocating dread and the piercing noise, white and deafening, ringing in my ears despite the bar's warning hush. There is only Zack. Only the whole expanse of Luxborn, separating me from one person I still believe safe from this whole fucked up situation we found ourselves in. Along with the voices. Vile ones. Whispers that taunt, jeer, and mock. Each vague utterance growing relentless as I make my way out of the bar without another word to G and slide back into my car, driving off with my body on autopilot, minding the days and afraid, utterly afraid that this time I have permanently lost someone in my life. The whole precinct is in uproar. Officers move in and out from the main work hall with rapid steps, phones blaring loudly from the comms room, and calls being made from the dispatch area. The rest, who has left standing, watch the whole commotion with a nervous energy. From further back, the chief's voice booms above the uproar. I'm not even shocked. He may appear like the bumbling fool on first glance, but he has kept the city safe for years. Oh, not tonight. Not today. For something to happen in his jurisdiction inside his own precinct right under his nose, he has the right to
What do you mean you this. don't know?
Oh,
Don't give me that shite, Sergeant!
Did he escape?
How can one person, slip past you?
Uh-oh.
You can't even keep an eye on one man!
Oh, something happened to Zack. He's gone. He's down. Am I wrong? Did Zack escape somehow? I'm not condoning it. Neither do I believe Zack's capable of doing it, let alone thinking of it. But if it's what's happening, I'd be equally as cross as the chief. This won't help his case. This will only complicate things with Wright. Put both of us in a tight spot. I won't be able to help him once red tape prevents me from doing so. Yet a hint of relief still washes over me as I walk closer to my boss, mentally preparing myself for whatever reprimand he's about to dish out.
What's happening, Chief?
Except he merely glances at me with an inscrutable expression. Although, if I'm going to read deeper into it, I'll say it's the closest expression he can get to shooting me a pitying look. Uh-oh. He's dead. For the first time in my years in the force, I find myself wishing to hear a reprimand from him. Whatever the stare means, it can't be good. Coupled with Officer Renz's tone this morning, it does nothing to calm the unease feeling in me. Fuck, boss even seems relieved to see me. After the last few exchanges we've had these past 2 weeks, you'll think the man doesn't want to see me right now.
About time you got in here.
I got caught up in something. Sorry, Chief. What's going on? Is there a problem with Zack?
He hesitates for a second before his frown eases with a long, dragged-out exhale.
I'm not sure if you can call this a problem, Frey, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Follow me. And you, I want your full report about this by the end of the day. It better be good or you are kissing that badge goodbye.
Officer is addressing the sergeant, a man in his late 20s to 30s who transferred here last year, shrinks back into his chair. I don't quite remember his name. I've only seen him a quiet number of times since I'm often out of the precinct. But if my memory serves me right, he's the guy currently assigned a late night shift, at least until this month's end. Depending on how bad it is, he'll either be given a verbal warning, a suspension, or a dismissal. It's not a position I envy him for being in right now. Although there's really not much time left to feel sorry for him, either. As soon as Chief's done roasting the other officers behind the guy, he gestures for me to follow. Straight towards the precinct's holding cell. And it's as if the switch has been turned off. The moment he steps away from the small crowd, the entire main lobby goes silent. Oh, it's just like his arm there or some shit. For one reason or another, it feels like everyone's simply waiting for the metaphorical hammer to fall. Even their stares before we turn to an adjacent hallway exude the same pitying vibe as the Chief's. All of which I might have easily ignored any other day. People here can be a bunch of gossip mongers. It's only a significant glance Chief throws my way before pushing the door open that stops me. Oh, it's like Hannah Wright or some shit. And it's even need to mull over it. Because the moment he swings it open, it strikes me. A sharp, dry, metallic scent. Uh-oh, I've already grown familiar of it over the years. It's another one of these things you'll have to get used to once they start handing you the homicide cases. Now, just a whiff of it tells me enough to gauge the severity of the situation. This isn't the festering smell you get when someone in the room has a flesh wound. It lingers far too much in the air, hangs far too heavily even where I stand. No. This is what you get when someone has spilled blood all over the room. This is what you get when there's a large pool of it. This is what you get when no one bothers with cleanup for a few hours because forensic work isn't done yet. This is what you get when there's most certainly a dead body somewhere. I don't want to think of the who yet. There are simply too many possibilities, too many variables unaccounted for here to form a single conclusion. However, when the chief of Luxmore Police refuses to provide answers, a chill easily fills every nerve in my body. Almost in a trance, I follow after him without asking anything or saying another word. For the first time in years, I feel like a damn rookie again. Fresh out of training, newly instated, and still on my first homicide case, except I didn't balk at the idea. Now, as light flashes fleetingly from the far end of the hall, while CSI documents the scene and the forensics team gathers evidence, the only thing my instinct tells me is to run. As far from here as possible, as if I don't have 10 years of detective work under my belt. It echoes inside my head like a mantra.
It's because you didn't listen.
It's all your fault. Why won't you believe me?
Over and over and over, rising and ebbing, a tidal wave of thoughts and murmurs surging and crashing against my ear, more deafening than the drum of my heart beats in shallow quick gasps, churning and heaving till the cell finally comes into view and I am afforded a clearer look at what's inside. Damn it! Shit! The whole world stands still. God damn it. Yeah, we knew that was gonna happen, probably, guys, after we left off with Zach's arc. Unfortunately, we probably shouldn't have went into the mansion. That's how it got us in this situation. God damn it. Fuck. There's only red. 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 Blood everywhere on the floor, where a copious amount of it has pooled, on the wall, smeared on every crack and tile his hands can reach, on his face and shoulders, dripping from every gash and tear, falling from the hollow gap where his eyes should have been.
The custodial officer found him when they brought in breakfast. It was too late. He was already dead by that time. Some 3 to 4 hours, according to the blokes from forensics.
There has been a struggle based alone on the smear pattern left on the bars and floor, but only so much as his small cell will show. You can imagine how it went down. He was likely left with no other choice, cornered like an animal at the mercy of his killer. In this cell, there would have been no escape. The only thing he would have been able to do is shout for help. Perhaps the same plea written on the floor closest to him. Help me. Help me. Help me. Help that he didn't even get. And it calls for a whole lot of questions, not the how. His logic has already flown out the window from the start. She has the means to get to us, get to all of us, bars and walls notwithstanding. The whys, though.
No one heard him? Not even one from the guys on duty last night?
Because Zach's not an idiot. He would have asked for help. He would have yelled.
Oh, one of them did, but thought nothing of it.
Then why didn't they do anything? He's just a room away!
They must have assumed your friend's just asking for attention. Henry wasn't clear on the details when I questioned him about it.
Good job,
You've
Henry.
been serving in this precinct for more than a decade, though. You should be aware by now how rowdy the folks we detain here can become. But that's not the only problem we have here.
Uh-oh.
Someone got in and out of this place without anyone noticing. Even the surveillance footage is a bust. Tech's going over it now, but I don't think we'll get anything from it. The media will have a field day when they learn of this fray. Keep it mum for now. I'll let you know because he's your... well, you deserve to know. The poor bloke's your friend, after all.
We knew this was gonna
I
happen.
just don't want the commissioner hearing of this before I can tell him anything. Or at least until we've figured out how the
3
butcher
out of
got
4,
in.
though. That's not bad.
You think this is an inside job?
What else can it be? It's either that or we have a damn good criminal mastermind walking this city.
Really, I want to say something. I want to tell him that this isn't what he's thinking. That all this, the Anselm Butcher, never existed. This is a curse that the people of the city have been laughing up for centuries. The way things are going, we'll simply find ourselves at a dead end. Chances are they'll just have to find an innocent chap to blame for everything, like what Wright did to Zach. A scapegoat for things that they can't explain. But how am I supposed to tell anyone, let alone get them to believe my words? I'll sound like an idiot. They'll likely brush me off the same way I've done with Isabella's warnings. In the end, clenching my fists at my side and gritting my teeth is all I'm able to do. Zach's lifeless face stares back at me, and accusations in them, sharp and searing. An expression that etches itself deep within my mind once the first officer waves us both out of the room. Another ghastly image I will never be able to forget. Another memory that will probably haunt me until my last dying breath. Another regret. Chief dismisses me barely an hour later, sending me off without nothing but a light pat and another sorry expression. I'm not entirely sure if that's supposed to be reassuring. There's plenty more to do, a lot of people to call and tell, and it all falls on me. No matter how awful the news I bring will be, it'll be better if this comes from a person his family and friends know. Still, my body refuses any notion of movement. The thought of telling Rebecca and Isabel about this, it will both upset them. I don't even want to imagine what his grandparents will say. They're good, kind, warm-hearted people who has given me another family even without me asking for it. They welcomed me, invited me every time, easily reminded me of what having a whole family feels like. I thought I've already forgotten it. Zach's older sister will definitely show up in my apartment though, ring my doorbell and punch me as soon as I open the door, just like the last time. She's right. I'm the kind of person who brings nothing but trouble. She's known all along that Zach should have stopped hanging out with me, warned him several times. Zach has often laughed her concerns off. I used to think it's because he enjoys the friendship as much as I do, despite a huge part of it going unspoken between us throughout the years. Now he's dead. Thought I had more time. I thought he'd be safe. I acted too late. And then the deafening silence in my car. The only thing I am able to do is close my eyes, rest my forehead against the cold surface of the steering wheel, Scream. Scream until my throat bleeds raw. Scream until my lungs burn. Scream until all that remains are the guilt and the tears. The sun hangs lower when I drive back to the pub and drag myself in. Around this time, patrons usually start to trickle in the main lounge, but considering what day it is too worrisome for the kind of business G runs. He has always complained about the lack of a decent crowd on week start, though that doesn't really begrudge his customers for it. No one wants to start the week with a bad case of a hangover after all, even him. Which makes the concerned look he gives me come off as a bit too odd. With the kind of danger we're in, and after what happened to Zach, this swiftly puts me on the edge even before I can fully process and analyze the scene in front of me.
Something wrong, G?
G hums, but there's an undertone of annoyance in it despite his casual and open movements. And only after he finishes wiping a tumbler and carefully sets it face down on the table does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by a primary
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you might want to check on your friends, kid. Looks like one of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
Uh-oh. Another question forms in my head along with a small, confused frown. No more dead people, please. Okay, thanks. Though, before a single syllable slips past my mouth, Rebecca's irate voice rings out from, some part of the main lounge. From the sound of it, it appears woke up on the wrong side of the bed is a complete understatement.
Alone? You know we can't just go in there. Why did you think Ash stopped me yesterday?
But we don't have any other choice, Becca!
Oh my god.
There's really no other way!
Chill.
We have to go there!
Fuck
If
out.
you'll just...
Isabella? No.
That doesn't sound too comforting. Once Rebecca assumes that kind of tone in an argument with Isabella, it usually ends with one of them walking out or both of them giving the other the silent treatment. It lasts for about a week at most if it's really bad, which really isn't what we need right now. I hope the bad blood from this morning was after all of us has gotten a decent rest. No, apparently not. Turns out sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even G appears to understand it in spite of his efforts. As unconcerned as possible, there's a tense set on his shoulders. A nervous edge lingers in his eyes as it occasionally flickers over where Rebecca and Isabella's voice are coming from. He doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. I got it. Neither do I. Things have worked out well between them before without Zach or high meddling. Zach's dead now. But the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me with no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that.
You know how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing. Go fix it before it blows up in your faces. I'd hate to throw two girls out of this place over a petty argument.
It's probably not as petty as if Rebecca's already shouting like that, but I give him a nod nevertheless.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer and waves me off, turning away and returning to his work without another word. Even with the lack of sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're the same in that regard. Can't remain still, always has to stay moving, doing something, thinking, whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Rebecca's voice rings out once again, followed by Isabella's. Why he wants to take for all the trouble he's taken for people he barely even knows. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get to this before it turns into a shitstorm both of them will regret, and I know both of them will. For all of Isabella's complaints about Rebecca's bossy attitude, or how annoying Rebecca sometimes finds the other's childlike demeanor, it's a friendship they both cherish in their own way. Rebecca's already on her feet when I spot. I'm willing to bet my entire life savings that people are staying away only because of the brewing storm. Rebecca can have quite the mood. I can't speak for Isabella. I rarely ever see her seething, but from what I've seen yesterday, I don't think I ever want to be at that messy end of it. The way she's glaring up at the redhead from her seat, regardless of how much the other woman towers over her right now, already says everything. Empty plates have have been left neatly piled on one corner of the table. They occupy a conversation that turned sour sometime after they ate lunch. Good thing they're already done and nothing left to spill. Because in the next moment, before I can approach and intervene, Rebecca slams her palm on the table. It sends the silverware clinking sharply against the surface. Isabella flinches momentarily. We both do, though she shows no indication of surrendering in the face of Rebecca's temper. Everything.
You've already gotten us in enough trouble because of this.
Oh my god, everyone shut up.
Ghost everything.
Zach's dead.
And you can't expect everyone to fix your mess.
You keep on putting the blame on me, but you're the one who didn't listen. All of you! If you just listened in the first place, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But you're too busy acting like you know what's best for everyone, when in fact you're the one who's being selfish.
I'm the one who's selfish. Yet you're still going to do what you want anyway, even if the people around you are already beside themselves with worry. This is how you've always acted since we met, and I'm tired of it. Sometimes I wish you never even came here. Because all you've given us is a headache.
You know why I had to come here. My dad.
Your dad has nothing to do with this. It has always been you and your whiny, careless self that has always been the problem.
Maybe I should have stepped in earlier. Yeah. Maybe I should have said something the moment Rebecca had slammed the flat of her hand on the table or the second I've entered the area. Either way, it's too late to act. Harsh words have already been hurled between the two. We're all gonna die. Yay! Words more cutting than any blade, each and every one in a digging wound too deep in the person they've been aimed at. For a long time, Isabella sits there in silence while Rebecca stands, unmoving, arms crossed and breathing heavy. Despite the lack of words between them, they're both vibrating with anger, refusing to meet the other's eyes. Ever so slowly, the atmosphere in the room turns thick and smothering. Strained air, no one in the immediate vicinity, including me, dares to break until the one at its center does so. Rebecca definitely won't. At some point in our friendship, she has grown to become a woman firm with her opinions. She's never going to back down from this, not when she knows she has a point. Isabella, on the other hand, there has always been a certain stubbornness in her, as frustrating as it is to see sometimes it has gotten her through life's hardships, perhaps even the only thing that has. When you have nothing else, people tend to cling on to what they have within themselves instead. But she also knows when to withdraw, when a struggle turns useless, a kind of awareness almost second nature to her. When enough is enough, Isabella abruptly stands and marches towards the exit, with fast, rigid steps away from the hurt and painful words they've let fly earlier. She bumps into me in her haste, the impact nearly knocking her off her feet. Instinct kicks in at the last moment. I reach out for her, grabbing her arm in a steady grip. Surprise flits across her face, an expression mirrored by Rebecca behind her. Oh, neither of them have noticed me. Ugh. However, this doesn't mean I won't have things to say about this. Why do I have to pick a side? No. Okay, well, I have way more good positive relationship with Isabella, so I'm just gonna go with Rebecca on this. Well, Rebecca's gonna hate me though. Well, Zach's dead, regardless. Even if I had, you know, I was on good terms with Zach. I mean, to be fair, if I'm not going to go based off of, you know, relationship perspective, if I did, I would go with Rebecca, so I get that higher, and I lower on Isabella. But if I'm if I'm being honest, Isabella did talk about it immediately, and then we laughed at her, and it's like, ah, ha, ha, ha. So I don't know if Rebecca's gonna... I don't know if she's gonna take this the right way. What's my... Okay, I was about to say... Way up there with Ashton... Rest in peace, Zach, you dead, boy. What to do. Should I go with what I have relationship-wise? Or should I go with what I think? I don't think Isabella's being... but... I don't know if I quite agree with what Rebecca's saying. But I guess you know what? Find out in the next episode.